Right, welcome councillors to the table, please. It's like a classroom, children here. We've got to keep people under control. Welcome to all the teachers and parents and kids from Chaucer School in New Lynn. So, hearty welcome to you. And we've actually got one more item to do before we go into confidential, and then we might take a break, and then there might be some photo opportunities with the Mayor and any of the councillors that wish to be there. And I notice there's a couple of large children in the front row there. So we're just going to do item 8 again. I know we've passed a resolution, but these children have been studying democracy and meeting procedure, etc. for some time. So we're just going to do item number 8. So Francis and Kevin, please, could you... Council's Group Draft Annual Reports Procedure.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, members of the committee. The purpose of this item is just to speak to the preparation of the Auckland Council's Group Annual Report and Summary Annual Report, as well as the performance information for the financial year ending 2018 to 2019. This is just to inform the committee of the process followed in preparing the annual report, and as well as to provide transparency on the Auckland Council Group's quarterly performance reports, which will be presented in the confidential section of the meeting. On the 26th of September 2019, the governing body will be asked to adopt the annual report. Preparing and publishing the annual reports is a legislative requirement. The annual reports cover the period, the 12 months to 30 June 2019, and have been prepared by the Auckland Council staff and audited by Audit New Zealand on behalf of the Auditor General. The Auditor General attended the Audit and Risk Committee on the 12th of September and commented at that meeting on the audit process, the proposed audit opinion, including the key audit matters that they focused on, the status of the draft annual reports. I'm happy to confirm that there are no significant outstanding issues relating to either the audit or the process issues. The Auckland Council's quarterly performance reporting against the 10-year budget for 2018-19 will be discussed in the confidential part of this meeting. I also want to refer committee members to 2 items in the report, in the body of the report, the first being the diagram setting out the reporting milestones, which shows the robust process that we went through in preparing these reports on page 10, and we're still going through until it's passed through the governing body and released to the NZX. And then also the risks and mitigations, including legal compliance and reviews on the accuracy, completeness, and fairness of the annual reports, which is set out on pages 12 and 13 of this agenda. I'm happy to take any questions regarding the process that we've been through.
Councillor Casey.
Francis, could you say that again so that these children can understand? You've got 3 minutes starting from now.
Councillor, supposed to be questions, not statements.
Could you?
Right, well, I don't think there are any questions on the report. Oh, no, we've got Councillor Fletcher, sorry. Yep, and then Councillor Cashmore.
Thank you for your overview, Francis. Can you give us some examples of those types of situations that might constitute concern if there had been anything you would, you're not suggesting there are, but can you give us examples of the types of things that you're looking for?
Councillor, those, through the Chair, Councillor, those would be things, for example, where we've either disclosed an item in the annual report that is not in terms of the accounting standards and generally accepted accounting practice, or where we might have valued either an asset, something we own, or a liability, something that we owe to somebody, incorrectly, and we haven't followed the correct accounting standards for valuing those items. So those are sort of things that we would do. We also, if we didn't follow a proper due process around the preparation of the report, or for example, if we had picked up the incorrect plan and included it in the annual report and then tried to compare the actual result against an incorrect number. So those are the sort of things that we would check and that would constitute a significant departure.
Deputy Mayor Cashmore.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Francis, this is about a comparison of actuals to actual budgets, confirms into the LTP, and it's also about giving transparency to the public and the New Zealand Stock Exchange, but particularly to the public, to see that what the council has spent its money on the past 12 months and how well that money has been spent. When will that information actually be made public, and in what form is the value for money exposed in that report?
Through the Chair, Councillor, as I mentioned, on the 26th of September, the annual reports will come to the governing body. They will consider those in confidential, and we trust that they will adopt them. They'll be requested to adopt them. And once they're adopted, they are signed off by the Mayor and the Chief Executive, as well as Audit New Zealand providing their audit report. That gets included in those documents. They then become final, and we issue them the following day to the New Zealand Stock Exchange, as well as posting them on our website, which effectively makes them available to the public. We later on print off hard copies of those, and those are distributed to people that ask for them, but also put into the libraries of the council and council offices, where members of the public can go and view them. The other matter is around where you asked about how do we disclose how we've performed and actually report against that. Within the document, we are required by legislation to report against significant variances, so we will state that. In volumes 1 and 2, Volume 1 deals with the total group of the Auckland Council, which includes our subsidiaries like Auckland Transport, Watercare, ATEED, Regional Facilities Auckland, and Panuku, as well as our investment in the airport and the ports of Auckland. In those accounts, in Volume 1, we actually do a lot of discussion, and there are a lot of diagrams that actually explain how we've performed against the way we plan to, and we report both good and bad. So we've got set various targets, and so we will report against those targets and say we've achieved or we've not achieved, and if we haven't achieved, why, and what we're doing about to try and fix it. And the same with Volume 2, where we do the same for the local boards.
Thank you, Francis. Right, we have two more questions, one from Councillor Hills and then Mayor Goff to wrap it up.
Thank you. Just a quick question. Since most of our budgets are planned for the young people sitting in the back there, could you name 5 cool things in the budget that that the young people might like to know that the money is going towards?
And that can be between Kevin could do this one.
What you'll find, especially in the local board volumes, is any playgrounds have been upgraded. You'll hear about the swimming pools and other sporting venues. You'll see some really good results for the libraries, especially our children reading programs. I'm trying to think 2 more. All children love animals, and of course we have one of our highest ratios of animals being registered, our dogs being registered within the region, so that was a great outcome. That's 4. And Oh, zoos, yes, okay.
Free public transport.
And to bring in our CCOs, that's the companies that provide on behalf of council. We have zoos, art galleries, and lots of events being held at our stadiums. Indeed.
And it's my understanding that they're actually, after they leave here, they're going across to the art gallery, so that should be great. Meg off to final question.
Thank you very much, Mr Chairman, and can I just issue a warm welcome to all the students from Chaucer School and their parents and their teachers. It's really great to have you here today to just watch a little bit about what we do as a council. And Councillor Hills very unkindly stole my question just on the eve of asking it, but I'm going to just put a different way of putting it. I think I'll address it to Kevin. Kevin, how much money do we spend each year? And how can you explain that in terms that somebody at primary school would understand? What do we build with that? What services do we pay for? And wait for it. Is it true that children can now travel free on Auckland Transport on weekends and on public holidays?
Microphone, Kevin.
Sorry, yes. So the last question, yes, they can at the weekends. Look, to put in context, around about $6 billion we spend every year. So that's on building assets, so parks and buildings. That's on providing services, so you can come along and use our facilities. You can ride on the buses. You can actually, turn the tap and get water coming out. You can attend a library. You can go to a sports venue. So it's $6 billion, a huge number, spread across a lot of people. And we then pay for that in a variety of ways. And sometimes we actually ask the owners of your houses, the people renting your properties, to pay a rate. In other cases, we actually ask you to pay when you come and use those services. So a variety of mechanisms there. But huge number of services. Almost everything you do every day, somehow council connects with. Be it a service we directly provide or we actually monitor on your behalf and make sure that those restaurants and cafes and dairies are right.
Footpaths,
roads. Yeah, endless list, yes, definitely.
Well, I think the lead financial officer wishes to say something too.
So through the chair, and a mass question for the kids to take away. So Kevin mentioned $6 billion. The exercise is you've got to divide that by the number of people in Auckland. And I can tell that won't be too hard for the kids here, but there's a little exercise to take away. Mm-hmm. And then you'll know how much the council spends per person.
Yeah. 1.7 million you can divide by.
Google.
Right, well, we have a mover and a seconder. Councillor Deputy Chairperson Councillor Simpson has moved this and the Deputy Mayor Cashmore is seconding this, so I will put the motion. All those in favour? Aye. And anyone against? Better not. Right, well, thank you. What I'll ask is those adults in the front, Karen, Alan, John, if they could move. That naughty girl, Miss O'Toole at the back, you can stay there. But I think we could bring the kids together to do a group photo with the mayor and other councillors that wish to be there. It's up to you guys, but we'll just have a 5-minute break again to just mobilise. we should get all the schools of Auckland to come in, all the primary schools on a rotating basis to lighten the mood. And anyway, someone could, I will move the motion in front of you, which is to, and seconded by Councillor Cooper, to enter into confidential. All those in favour? Aye, and we'll just close the doors and resume the meeting.